Hello YouTube, this is Genius in Exile. I was actually taking a break, a very rare one, and decided to knit some socks. Well, actually knit some more socks. I was thinking about winter coming up. Though we're about a month away from fall, the cold weather is definitely coming in some parts of the U.S. already. For us here in the South, maybe not quite yet, but eventually it will. So, without always having the luxury of heat, we've got to find ways to keep warm. So, these are some socks that I've knitted. These are actually my hubby's socks. Very nice. They're very generous, and they'll fit a skinny foot, a large foot. If you have a smaller foot, it'll definitely go up your leg, keep you nice and warm. And the way the knit is, it'll actually stretch a lot or shrink up to fit you. And they are just so comfortable. When you get into bed and your feet are just absolutely frozen, you throw these on and you are fast asleep. And there's nothing worse than getting frostbite or waking up with ice cold feet. So I do get cold in the winter. So here's actually another pair that I'm working on now. Here's the first one that I've already finished. And what I'm doing is actually using straight needles. I bet you're thinking, oh my gosh, how on earth is she doing something round with something straight? Well, that's actually pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to start casting on a knit, and then how to transfer it to the straight knitting needles, and then how to knit from there. And then when we're done, I'm going to show you how to finish off the toe. And then you're going to have a wonderful pair of super warm, comfy socks that you've made yourself. So add this to your prepping library of wonderful things that you'll be able to do for yourself and those you love. Okay, first thing we're going to do is learn how to cast on. The way I do these is I use a larger needle, because when you cast on, you don't want your stitches to be very tight, because you'll need to transfer them over to another needle or possibly a few needles, and you want to make sure that they're not too tight so you can start getting your needle in there and working your yarn. I use what's called the continental method. You might have learned something a little bit different from Grandma, but this is just how I do this. So what you do is I'm going to use a bright colored green thread and a larger knitting needle to start it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out about 2 feet of yarn. And the reason why I do this is because you want to make sure that you have enough when you cast on. So what I'm going to do is make a loop and pull this through. Basically, I'm making a knot without pulling it tight. So this is the first loop on your knitting needle. Now you want to have the loose part, the tail, over your thumb, and you want to grab the yarn like this. Now you hold it like this, and you hold it like this. So basically you're holding both sides with your fingers. You want to hold it kind of loose because you want to make sure it'll slip through. So the first thing you're going to do, once you have it like this, I want to show you how I have it in my hand. Oh, nice. Let's hold it like that. Now, you go through here, back again, and let go. You just made your first loop. It's a really good idea to hold this with your thumb because, as you saw, it'll slip off really easy because these knitting needles are meant for the yarn to slip around, and they will do it if given the opportunity. So we'll try this again. Still holding it the same way. You don't change a thing. You just basically go under on the left, grab the one on the right, and come back through that loop and let go. And you use your thumb to kind of pull it a little bit tight. Not real tight. You want to make sure it slides, but it's on there very securely. So I'm going to do it again just so you can see. I'll change my angle. And you are casting on. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit faster because I want to go ahead and proceed with showing you how to put this on the straight needles. And this is just a basic cast on. And yes, you will be able to do this faster, just like me, or possibly even faster than me. I've been knitting for about 35 years. So this is just something I'm kind of getting used to, and I'm doing a little bit of faster because you've already seen how it's done. And for a regular sock, I'm going to do 35 of these loops. So I'll come back to you when I'm done with the 35 loops. So I have 35 loops on here. It doesn't look like much, does it? But it's going to go around, and I'm going to use a knit and purl stitch. So what I'm doing is, you'll notice here I have 4 straight needles. One of them is a different color. I'm using a different color to show you the lead needle that I'll be using. So first, we have to get this separated onto needles. So since I'll be using 3 needles to separate this on, I'll put about 11 on each. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Now because there's 35 stitches and 3 needles, you're not going to get the same exact amount on each needle. That's okay. Because all we really want to do is get into a triangle. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. That's good too. Now this is kind of a little bit of a tricky part, but stick with it. Make sure you don't rag around a whole lot, because those stitches will drop off. And now you're done with this needle. Thank you, needle. Okay, so now you have 3 needles with all your stitches on them. So what you're going to do is get them like this. I don't know if me just lining it up just started to make a little bit of sense, but what you're going to do is, see this tail? You're not going to knit this in. I know I had a little extra, but it's always good to have a little bit extra later on. And then what we'll do when we're done is we'll come back and we'll use that to tie off the toe. So now, this is where you actually want to let one of the needles rest on you. We're going to start out with the basic knit stitch. The placement of your yarn when you begin is very important, because it determines how you're going to do your stitch. So you want to have the yarn behind the needle, go through this loop right here, grab it, and pull it through. Let's do that again. And I use my thumbs to hold down the stitches or the loops so they don't come off the needles because they're so slippery. I'm going to go through the back again, grab that yarn, and pull it through. We've just done a knit stitch. Now we're going to do a purl. The reason why I'm going back and forth is because it makes these wonderful ribs that stretch, and that's what you want with socks. You don't want them to be just solid because they'll be too big and come off, or they'll be too tight and they won't be comfortable. With this, they have wonderful stretch to accommodate any size foot. So now we're going to go through the front, and you'll notice the yarn is in front of the needle this time. So we're going to go through the front, grab it, and go out the back. Go through the front, grab that yarn, and let me show you again, go out the back. Now we're going to do the knit stitch again. Put that yarn in the back, grab through the back, and come forward. Grab through the back, and come forward. We're just doing 2 each, and yes, with 35 stitches, I know it's going to be a little bit uneven. There'll be one that's, just doesn't have a mate to it, but that's all right. These are socks. So now knit, knit, and purl. And notice we have a little bit of distance between each needle. That's okay. You just actually want to start it out. Now this is where we start to use another needle. Now I know I went from 3 needles down to 2, but that's okay. You just want to tighten up a little bit. Then you can mount it back onto the 3 needles. Then you're going to use this needle to start really knitting. So I'll come back when I finish this, and I'll show you how to re-separate them onto the 3 needles and start knitting in the round. Alright, so I made some progress here. I'm not actually going to do a whole sock. I just wanted to show you how to cast on, how to knit in the round, and then how to cast off and make the toe. I'm sure there's a lot more sophisticated ways to do it, but these are socks, and this is the way I've been doing it, so I figured I'll just show you the way I do it, and if you have a better way to do it, please do a video response and show me. I actually really like the way these turn out because you got some wiggle room for your toes, but if you know a better, more comfortable way to do it, please show me. I love to learn. So what I'm going to do is, you remember here that I did 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl. Yes, with 35 stitches it was a little uneven, but I just found 35 stitches was perfect. I could probably do 36 and stop all this craziness, but this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go through the 2 purls with the purl stitch, like this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm actually reducing the stitches by half. So if you put 2 together, like this, like that, you'll end up drastically reducing the size of your knit. See? Now we've gone from this much to this much. We're going to do this again. So we're just joining them together to reduce them by half. See, much smaller. Now once we go around, we're actually going to put this onto 2 needles so we can start reducing the size of the toe even more and join it together. So here we go. Last part. Oops. I'm actually kind of pulling a little bit tighter, so why you're seeing me struggle, because what I'm doing, I'm trying to pull it nice and tight because you don't want that toe to be real loose. This will be the part where you definitely want to pull a little bit tighter, but not make them so tight you can't get the needle through. So there we go. Now we've reduced all the stitches by half. And what I'm going to do is see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm going to divide them 8 on one, 9 on the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. And if you drop one, that's all right. Just pick it back up. Okay, and I'll be right back when I got these divided. Alright, so now I've got these reduced down to 2 needles. So I'm going to do what I did again. Now, before I did 2 knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls. Now I'm just going for it. I'm doing it in a purl. I'm going to do all of these purl. It's much easier to do it that way, and this is the toe, so it'll be alright. And you'll find if you don't quite taper it quite as much, you'll have a little bit more wiggle room with your toes. When you have big socks like this, you don't want them to be real binding. Tight enough to be nice and warm and secure, but not so tight you can't move your feet around. So as you see here, I'm doing 2. And I got an extra one here. The one great thing about these double point needles is you can work them around. Ta-da! Shift it onto the other needle so you can start over on that one. I know, that was quite a trick. Sorry, y'all. There. There. So I got it shifted on. Use that other needle. Start joining the 2 at a time. Alright. Almost done. And there. Now see, guys, it's getting a lot smaller now. It's starting to look more like a toe. So now what we're going to do is get it onto one needle. Real easy. It's one then the other, one then the other. So you take it. We're not going to knit this. We're just going to take it off the needles. Sure, there's a better way to do this. This is the way I've been doing it for a long time. And really, seriously, if you are a very experienced knitter and want to show me how to do it, I would love, 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 love to see how it's done or how y'all do it. Alright, so here it is right at the end. So we're going to reduce it down again. 2. And you're probably thinking this is going to end up in a really pointy toe. It's not. Because this is actually going to go on the inside. So it's not going to be some weird flap you're walking on. It's going to be right at the toe. It's there. We're pretty much down to nothing. At this point, what I do is grab my trusty crochet hook. So here, go through the first one, grab it on here. Okay, I'm actually pretty well convinced there's an easier way to do this, but this is how I do it. And then what I'll do is I'll cut the end of this and then pull it real tight and I'm sewing it through here. And that's how you get the comfy toe of your sock when you're done. There we go. Real easy. Takes a little bit of time, but as preppers we know we do a lot of things ourselves, and sometimes it takes a lot more time than it would have had we bought it in the store. But we're resourceful, we're clever, and we're skilled. So this is hopefully another skill you can add to your library of prepper skills, and you'll keep everybody's feet warm that you love. So take care and prep honestly.